Okay, this is a very quick video on how to use your gel plate if you don't have a brayer. I had on one of my videos, I had someone comment that they had a gel plate, but they didn't have a brayer yet. You don't really, a brayer is the best. I'm not going to say it isn't, but you can use your gel plate without a brayer in the meantime till you get one. You can use a paintbrush. Pardon me. Haven't had a drink in a while. Now, one way you can use a paintbrush is interesting. See, this is just a doodle I did. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but you can take a paintbrush. Let's see, let's use this new blue I just got. Nothing like a new tube of paint. Oops, didn't open it yet, so we'll do it this way. Just squirt a little out in your... I have to open it first, though. And I use these meat pack trays for my paint trays. Rather than throwing them away, I just put a little blue in there. And if I was wanting to do this design, I'm not going to do the whole thing. But now that I've got it under, and I've got tissue in between, so my plate doesn't get that ink off from. So I don't know what I drew that with, but you just follow your lines. Now I can moisten this paint a little bit and get a much better line, but I'm just playing right now to show you, see? And you can go over it a couple times if you have to. See, I'm just following my design. And that's one way you can do it. Let me just do a little section of this. And I'll just print it off on a scrap piece of paper so you can see. Now I'm not really worrying about getting too thick, but see where it's very thin? I can go get some more paint and go over it and thicken it up. I like this thin look, so I'm not worried about it. I'll just finish it to the middle. Let me get a piece of scrap paper here. That's very scrappy paper. Just print a section of that. As you see. And you can do all kinds of different stuff like that. You could get a thinner brush and make it a thinner line. Let me cut this off so we can use this just to show you, because I'm not going to do a picture or a print or anything. And you can, of course, fill in areas. And I actually like with a paintbrush, that's interesting, and if you can do swirls, get even more interesting lines out of it. You can do lines. And you can do dabs. Fill an area that way. It's all kinds of interesting things you can do. And you can do a flat area and then take your paintbrush backside down. Make sure it's not sharp before you do that. You want a nice dull. Let me show you what this does. But with a paintbrush you can get, and you can do different size paintbrushes, different thicknesses. Will give you different things. More wispy ones will give you even more wispy. And look at the variety of line you can get doing that. Try not to get too close because it messes up the camera. You see the variety of line you get there? Especially like the just straight lines. You can do all kinds of stuff like that. You can use sponges. You can sponge the paint on. I've done a lot of projects with sponges. Let's use just these flat makeup sponges. And so you can get a nice effect sponging the paint on. It's almost like a pixel effect if you spread it out. Let's spread it out so we can get an idea. There. Now let's pull that up. And that empty space right there. You see that? Isn't that pretty powdery look? And you can do, say I want to do a stencil. Let's put a powdery area down. Just a section of the stencil. Get it nice and spread out. Let's put this itty bitty stencil over it. Now we can pull that up. See if we can pull up the rest of the junk on the plate. And see, you can pull your stencil up there. Now, had I done that over another color, that would be beautiful. But then you can go back and let's use this color. Oh, none of my stuff works. I just bought a new bottle of this, so a new tube of this. All right, let's take a different sponge. I don't want to mix the colors yet. And let's go over the top of that stencil. And you can also use the brush to go over the top of it. Once it's stuck down to the plate, the brush will glide over it easily. Now let's put this over another color. Well, we can put it over that powdered blue we had before. Well, it's a little hard to see, but as you can see, you can put one. Let's do it with white, and that'll show up much better. But actually, we can pull this part that was left down there. Let's see if we can't pull up everything we've got left. Well, it's not wanting to come up. Things are drying quickly out here today. But let's try something else. Let's put down a good coating of this blue. Now this blue is this greeny blue, it's aqua, I guess it is a little thicker than that blue paint we had. Let's do a slight impression of a leaf in there. Now I'm pushing it down. I'm going to push it down with some paper. Got a little bit harder. I want a good impression. And it should be light, but you'll get the leaf impression out of it. And it's just a different way of doing things. I mean, see how light and delicate that leaf came out? Isn't that pretty? And hopefully I can pull all this up with white. We'll see. Or off-white. This is that. Let's see, it's that light yellow green. Now what I'm going to try and do is spread that around. See if I can't pull some of this up. But you can see you don't really need, use this big sponge that I've got. See how much of that's going to come up so I can do something else. Now you can use bigger sponges, you can use makeup sponges. I mean bigger sponges, makeup sponges, those like dish sponges. You can use bigger brushes. You can use makeup brushes. You can use whatever you got. Now see that pretty pattern you got pulling that up? That was just sponged down. Was it nothing? Right there is so pretty. Like I said, right now I'm just doing areas. You can use, I one of my videos I did this glue on cardboard. It's just hot glue, but you can actually do it with Elmer's glue. I just like the way it looks better with the hot glue. But I'll show you. We'll sponge some down here. We'll do the sponge part. And then we'll do a little brush part over here. So you can see what the difference is. And I'm not being fussy with anything. I'd have to hurry up so it doesn't dry. So everything's drying pretty quickly out here today. Haven't been working all day, but since I come out here, now we're going to pull it up real quickly so that you can see. And that's, like I said, just a glue gun stencil. I did some circle patterns and some circles, and then I did some patterns inside the circles. And you can see how that shows up there. Not as much in the brush strokes because I wasn't being careful with my strokes, but if I pulled out all that thick paint, it would have showed up just as well. But look at how nice it shows up in the sponging. Sponging will give you a different look. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can sponge over the stencils, under the stencils. And like I said, the sponging will give you a different look. You don't need to use a brayer every time. I do finger painting on mine sometimes when I will put a quick drawing of a flower or something underneath, and I will finger paint over it. Let me show you. And you can be nice and delicate finger painting. Let me mix these colors. It's messy, yes, but I don't mind messy. Or I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. See, I'm not really blending the colors. I'm just putting them side by side so you can see. But that's what it looks like when you finger paint. Let's pull that up so you can see. And then the same thing. You can finger paint and put stencils in it. And see, that's the texture you get from finger painting. It looks just fine. You can think of the interesting things you can do. And like I said, you can take you can sponge it down, you can stamp it, you can put stencils. You don't need a brayer. Just use the other end of your paintbrush. And you can celebrate what that looks like. You see the impressive lines you can get doing that? I'm going to try and come up as far as I can. But you could draw into it. You can do whatever you want. As you can see, look at all those different marks you can make. Textures you can get. Colors you can blend. And you do not need a brayer. There's lots of things you can experiment with. I use the end of a credit card. You can get a nice smooth surface with that. Put your paint out and smooth it out. Now those colors are kind of hideous, but can you see how nicely smooth that is? That will print fine. See? You don't need a brayer. You can do this without one. Paper stencils, leaves, whatever you got in the yard. I haven't tried it yet, but the end of this is the bottom of a cookie tin. And obviously, it's going to make a lovely print. Objects you find around the house are fine. You don't need a brayer. You don't need fancy equipment. You need a gel plate and some paint. And then start looking around your house for what you can do with it. Thank you, and you have a nice day. I hope you like my video. If you do, please put a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. There will be more whether you subscribe or not, so you might as well do it. And you have a lovely day.